Love that little transition. So cool. So ridiculous. It's so ridiculous and I love it so much. Last night I said that I'd have fun with this, but that was a lie. The sunlight is intense as is, but the heat reflection from the concrete makes it even worse. By the time I got to the festival venue, I was already drenched in sweat. Yashio-kyun says with a cool face. I guess the locals are accustomed to this heat. I figured not many people would come out in this heat, but I was greatly mistaken. The Tanegashima Gun Festival is no joke. And ironically, the incident last night may have spurred the crowd on even more. The gigantic matchlock robot from last night is still hovering below the sun and looking down at the venue as we speak. It's still there? I mean, I guess that makes sense, but that, yeah. Like, if you're in the know, that's terrifying. There aren't very many robots around that can compare to the matchlock robot's size. Speed Stag, which I heard was brought over all the way from Tokyo with the help of corporate sponsors. And Super Gun Build 1, which saved the world 6 months ago and has become Tanegashima's icon, might have a fighting chance. Or Gun Build 1. Sorry, Super Gun Build 1. This poor thing. Been through hell and back. The arm is still deformed, and it's got scratches all over it. Those aren't scratches, my dude. Those are tears and rips through steel. But there's still a decent amount of force gathered around it. Oh yeah, didn't he have to like climb a rope ladder? Says a surprised Yashio-kyun as he gazes up at Super Gun Build 1 emotionally. There's an electrical pulley lifter installed on the robot's back that runs up and down to its legs. Frickin' rope ladder. Apparently there's a parade every year at the gun festival. I see people in Sengoku era costumes all over the place. Several industries and schools contribute to the historical atmosphere with their own displays and decorations. Though they said that the gun phase lasts a week from today, I still feel like the robots are stealing the spotlight. This is probably Mr. Candy's intention too. I like how everyone just calls him Mr. Candy now. I don't even remember his name. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't remember his name. I was surprised to see some major corporations exhibiting for the festival. Having said that, the vibe of the venue is way more exciting and festive than that of the expo held last year. Oh god, that expo. Beginning of the end. Sadly, this festival is obviously much smaller in scale than the expo. That's nobody's fault. This is Tanegashima, for crying out loud. In order to exhibit at Tanegashima, companies would have to ship everything across the sea, making logistic costs expensive. Transportation costs for even one staff member would be crazy high. But the exhibits that are here are all quite creative. I don't have to go very far to find something interesting to look at. Among them, JAXA's exhibit is drawing a big crowd. They're educating people about the robot technology associated with space technology development. All done through interactive learning. That's cute. I like that. They don't call this place Rocket City for nothing. But it looks like everyone's most excited about the Central T Robot Club's exhibit. It goes to show how impactful the incident last spring was for the people of the island.
パニックにならなくてよかったんでしょうけど。
お、あそこの出店の衣装、際どくね。
Daru, please focus.
やっぱりまずは君島港の方をどうにかしないとまずいですよね。
俺はなんだろう。
ありがたいことにロボ部のみんなが関わるイベントは
completely different conversations.
集中してるみたいですし、手伝いの方はその後でも大丈夫でしょう。
喉乾いた。どっかにコーラ売ってね。
橋田さん、やる気あります？
やる気ね。
What a silly question.
つうかさ、やっぱり一緒に行動するのがヤシオキュンってのがさ。
俺のこと気に入りませんか？
いや別にヤシオキュンが気に入る気に入らないの話じゃなくてさ、やっぱ男としては男子より女子が相棒の方が嬉しいじゃん。ヤシオキュンだってそう思うっしょ。
別に付き合うわけじゃないんだからいいんじゃないですか？
ああ、違うんだよな。そういうことじゃないんだよな。
Yeah, these two work on completely different wavelengths. It's not whether I have the motivation or not, but rather whether I can be motivated or not.
ああ、どうせなら可愛い女の子が相棒になってくんないかな。それも猫耳メイドさんだったらなおよし。
猫耳メイドさんね。
Excuse? Are we not going to talk about that? Hello? What? If I remember correctly, this energetic voice belongs to... Is this because the whole, like, AR interference thing where Koki Mijima creates illusions, so like AR kind of merges with reality, you can see it with your bare eyes? Is that what this is? Is that what this is? Like, he mentioned the cat ear maid and it like projected what he was thinking into the world?
ああ、いや、まだ今から。
どうしたのカイ？
あきちゃん、どうしたのその格好。
格好？どういうこと？
Aki-tan tilts her head with a blank expression on her face.
どうって。
猫耳メイドさん来たこれ。
猫耳メイ
ド？さすがヤシオキュン、できる男だとは思っていたのだぜ。まさかこんなサプライズを用意してくれてるとは。
Well, hey, look on the bright side. Now he's motivated.
まったまた、とぼけちゃって。謙遜しなくてもいいっつうの。それじゃあ、アキタン、行こうか。
I take Aki-tan's hand and start walking. So can she not see it? Or has she just not noticed it yet? Sorry. Aki-tan's eyes brighten up suddenly. Gotta work.
バイトあるんだし。
でも君島港の野望を阻止するためにはバイトなんて悠長なこと言ってられないじゃん。
だからあいつのことは俺たちに任せて、バイトクビになったら困るでしょ。
それは
聞いたよ。バイト先おじさんが無理って頼んだんだって。
As soon as she hears those words, Aki-tan lowers her shoulders in defeat. This reminds me, I rewatched the first Avengers movie the other day. It reminds me of a line from that where he's like, "Until such a time as the world ends, we will behave as though it continues to spin on." It's kind of like what's going on here. It's like, Sure, it threatens to end the world, but until that happens, we're gonna go ahead and act as though it's gonna keep going.
でもってことは秋田のバイト先ってひょっとしてメイド喫茶なん？
Just look down, Akio. Just for a second, just look down.
絶対に行ってみなきゃ。
If she really worked at a maid cafe, this is where she'd respond by saying, "I'll be waiting for you, master." Nyan. Oh boy. But Akitan stares blankly at me.
ねえ、橋田さんさ、さっきから格好って何のこと言ってるの？
Just look down.
何って？だってその格好。
アキちゃん、いいって。
Yashio-kyun shows her his phone droid screen. The selfie camera displays an image of Akitan. Akitan sharply squares up with Yashio-kyun.
もしかしてかい？
違うよ。なんで俺が？
だって前はよくやってたじゃん。
なんだ、ヤシオキもそういうの好きなんじゃん。
Busted. Busted.
たまにポケコンで遊んでただけでしょ。そもそもアキちゃんの知らない間に現実にそんな格好させるなんてできるはずないじゃん。
じゃあ、もしかして橋田さん？
いや、いくら僕でもそんなゲットできないっつうの。
If I was, I'd use it way better.
それじゃあ。
I'm a little concerned as to what better in his mind would be.
Huh?
Pulse. Kaito, what have you done? I know he didn't do it on purpose, but this is all definitely Kaito. This is from his head. Did she leave me behind? Where's Juna? Like, if we're doing this, we're doing it. Where is she? The whole King Kabuto. If Subaru shows up wearing this, I'm gonna die. And I want it deeply. Also, this music is I don't know why it took me so long to notice how great this music is. Phew. Oh God, Naru, please. Control yourself. It has begun. It has begun, indeed. I'm still waiting for Subaru, and if he doesn't show up wearing a maid outfit, I will be saddened. Oh God. No, but seriously, what the heck is going on here? Well, I guess the answer is already obvious.
Oi, Furugori. そろそろ腹を決めたらどうだ? 今更逃げ出したところでどうにかなるものでもないだろう.
I knew it wasn't gonna happen, and yet I'm still disappointed. Thank you! Somebody said it!
は? 何を言って? ってお前、その格好どうした? 園宮先輩、それに雪船さんまで。
今すぐメガネも猫耳メイドになるべきっていうかなれ。
She's not wrong.
なんで僕がそんな格好しなきゃならないんだ。
外では生意気メガネ、家ではヤシオ先輩の猫耳メイド。冬コミはこれで決まりですね。
橋田さん、これって。
うん、多分。
Yeah.
なかなかいい格好だね。
君島公。
Okay, how does this work into his master plan? The man of the hour appears out of nowhere, standing right by us.
一体何をしに来た？
何って、可愛い女の子たちが猫耳メイドという素敵な格好をしてるというから見に来たんじゃないか。いやー、なかなか似合ってるよ、アイリー。おや、嫌われたものだね。安心したまえ。そんなに怯えなくても危害は加えないよ。
I definitely won't make you try to kill yourself again.
おかげでいい目の保養をさせてもらったよ。いやー、眼福眼福。
Water under the bridge, you know?
そういえば、メイド服も一応制服に入るのかな。となると、これぞまさに世界征服だね。
I still want to know what his current world domination plan is.
そんなわけで、まあ、せいぜい早くジオタグを見つけることだね。
Wow, yeah, he really just showed up to be like, ha, nice clothes, losers. Then he bounced. Alright, see you later. Kokimijima creepily laughs and vanishes into the crowd as he nods his head, satisfied. All we can do is watch him leave, dumbfounded. That's a good way to describe me right now. Dumbfounded. How do you even go about describing what just happened? I guess I'd call it an anticlimax.
とにかく皆さんのその格好も君島公の仕業ということは間違いないようです。
Everyone finally snaps back to the present, but why? But why? I mean, I still think it's like his overall technically is his fault, but like it's the exact same outfit. It's got to have come from like he thought about it and it like projected into that makes the most sense to me because it's like the exact same outfit from the app. Akiten looks at herself and gets flustered once again.
アキちゃんのバイトって飲食店のウェイトレスでしょ。ならそのくらいの方がいいんじゃない？
Akiten's cheeks turn bright pink.
カイもそう思うの？
俺もっていうか一般的に考えてそう思う
I
もんで
think
しょ。
she's buying it. Keep going, Kaito. She falls into deep thought.
やっぱ恥ずかしいからやだ。なんとかしてよ、カイ。私はお兄ちゃんがいいって言うなら、私はこのままでも構いませんよ。
Irie-tan, you're actually quite the little devil, aren't you?
もちろん僕もこのままでも構いませんよ。むしろこのままがいい。
Of course he doesn't mind.
でもこれが君島公の仕業となればこのままにしておくわけにもいかないでしょう。
嘘だ。 メガネは嘘を言っている。
嘘じゃない。
さっきの言い方だとジオタグを見つければこの現象も収まるってことかしら。
かもしれません。
If this is just what they're wearing the entire game, I wouldn't even bat an eye. Oh, bat an eye. That's so ridiculous. Everyone traces Yashio Kyun's gaze. There, we find a skinny, elderly woman in a cat ear made. No! It's everywhere! It's spreading! Please don't. Please don't burn my eyes with this. Okay, alright. It's not actually gonna show up. Good, good, good. I guess I've got no choice. I wanted to stay here and play with all the cat ear maids. Well, now they're everywhere, so... He will not want for motivation. Can he be more gentle with people? After walking for a while, Yashio Kyun turns around to face me. One rarely needs a car living in Tokyo, but after having my daughter, I went and got a license anyway. It's probably better as a father to be able to drive. Fair enough. Look at responsible-ass Daru. Though it's a small island, there are about 60 kilometers between the northern and southern shores. It takes a lot of energy to travel from edge to edge. He definitely seems to take pleasure in seeing people go crazy. Kaito's like, I've been training for this my entire life. Well, okay, for a summer. What if there's one right here? I check. Oh, I should also check the tweeps. Hey, my UC lunch. Sounds good. Just get Ho in Kyoma bot. Great. Oh, hey, Shining Figure. What? Is that an actual link? I cannot click it. I wanted to click the link. Oh my god. She still types freaking novels, I see. Interesting, so they're looking into it too. And I can't. Ah! So great. What if there's one right here? Oh, I was supposed to do that apparently. Okay. This is the first time this happened, right? What specifically? The maid costumes in this game? Yes. Just in real life. I see your shirt. I guess we have to search elsewhere. but the heat is already draining my spirit.
それじゃあひとまずは俺が怪しいと思うところを提案します。その中から探すべき場所を橋田さんが選んでください。
僕が選ぶ？
We've got a sixth sense for these sorts of things.
島の外の人である橋田さんの方が直感的に考えられそうですし。
オッケー、そういうことなら分かったお。
ではまず今日探すべき場所ですけど。こんなところでしょうか。
Oh, alright.
ふむふむ。
I see. Of all these places, let's try searching. Facing lighthouse, main stage, front of the man. Weird sounding titles. Front of man from the sea statue, main stage, harbor facing the lighthouse. Main stage seems conspicuous. This place looks suspicious to me. I was wondering where she was at. Oh boy. Ah. God. There. Juntan and Mr. Candy.
Jun-chan, どうしたの？
ヤシオくん。
おお、来たこれ。
Oh my god. Have I made a horrible mistake coming here?
褐色猫耳メイドさん、素晴らしすぎる。
Star out.
健康的な肌に対照的なカラフルメイド服。そこにアクセントとして加わった猫耳が何とも言えん小悪魔感を付与している。さらにまたその怯えたような瞳が保護欲をかきたてるわけですね。もしもそれを計算でやっているとしたら、ジュンタン、恐ろしい子。その格好で
I think she broke. It's too much.
できれば両手をこう招き猫のようにしてお願いしますプリーズ。お腹が空いたにゃん、ご主人様。
私。
お腹が空いたにゃん、ご主人様。
お腹が空いたにゃん。
She's playing along, really? Alright. Oh, God.
よし、ご主人様何でも買っちゃうぞ。何がいい？たこ焼き、リンゴ飴、なんならペドグリジャムでもいいよ。
Look at Mr. Candy over there, just watching this play out. Like a true boss. Not like a boss, like a literal boss. He's her boss, but yeah. Terrifying this poor girl.
いかんいかん、僕としたことがあまりの破壊力につい興奮してしまったようです。すみません。
橋田さんは面白い人じゃの。
I wasn't really trying to be funny.
それで純ちゃん何を揉めてたの？
Oh God. Already. Computer.
ヤシオくん、それが社長がデモンストレーションに空手の型をやれって。
型？いいじゃない、それくらい純ちゃんならできるでしょ。
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the cat ear maid costume that appeared out of nowhere.
人前で型なんて、しかもこの格好でなんて絶対無理。
え？この格好ってその猫耳メイド姿で？
I'm sorry, did we forget who we were talking about?
だって社長がそう。
This is the man who owns a parakeet that is literally trained to sexually harass women.
どうせやるなら目立たにゃ意味がなかろう。その姿でやりゃ注目を浴びること間違いなしじゃ。そうじゃ、いいことを思いついたぞ。
Mr. Candy pats himself on the back for his own proposal. Juntan, on the other hand, is completely against the idea.
空手の型が決まった後にさっきのセリフを言うといい。俺なんじゃ腹が減ったんだに。
Oh God.
お腹が減ったにゃん。
それじゃ。
Now he's taking advice from Darwin. He's becoming the ultimate life form. He needs to be stopped.
純ちゃん。
Juntan literally runs away from Mr. Candy's Awahara? Actually, this is probably Sekuhara too. I don't know what either of those things are. Sekuhara. Sexually harass someone in Japan. Majority of it refers to men and women, but women to men and to the same gender also counts as Sekuhara. Awahara? Another way of saying power harassment, mainly used in a work environment where the person with authority mentally or physically harasses those under them in a way that goes beyond what's necessary. I would say this applies as both, yes. Mr. Candy, you're an awful, awful person. Go away forever, please. Mr. Candy sighs. Shorten words like that. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Should I be looking for the thing right now, or do I wait for this to no, I guess I can just look for it right now. Got the Gun Festival banner. We got one. Oh, it's Sumio, that's right. I literally forgot his name. AKA Mr. Candy. This again? Is that the same? Yeah, same. Hello, Kaito. Yes, the champion of the world. And it's not gonna be quite as subtle as the oh god, I can zoom. I'm glad I figured that out right away. Am I using a guide? I'll probably eventually, yeah. If I get lost on like the last one, I got the one ending and then literally had no idea how to proceed. So probably eventually, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm not. Oh, hello. Hey. Not entirely sure what I'm looking for. In the other one, it was like a power symbol, the reports, but I don't see anything super obvious. So I guess we'll carry on. Huh. I figured this guy was just a brute, but I guess he is thinking about his employees in his own way.
そういえば、純ちゃんってバトルロボッツの担当でしたっけ？
そうじゃ。この祭りの一番の見どころでもある。まあそれも頑張ってはおるみたいだが。まあ今回のこの祭り
I definitely didn't drop the controller just now.
変わってくれることを期待しとるよ。
I missed what was said. Okay.
そのためにもカイト君と橋田さんには君島港の野望を止めてもらわにゃな。頼んだぞ。
Yeah, I found a really good spoiler-free guide for the last one. I really like that it told me how to do the things, but didn't ruin any of the story bits. I liked that. He once again pushes the work onto us, lets out a joyful laugh, and exits stage right. Ko Kimijima's ambitions, huh? What we've seen so far is the extent of his ambitions. I don't see a problem. Actually, I welcome it.
ヤシオ君、思うんだけどさ、別に君島講師を止める必要ないんじゃね？
何言ってるんですか？他にも何か起こるかもしれないんですよ。
The routes are determined through those place searches. Okay, so if I had picked a different place, am I already on like a specific route? Interesting. I'm not much of a drinker though. That's quick. No, I think I'm probably just gonna go through and get whatever route I get, just based on whatever I do. Yeah. But thank you. I hold up my phone droid. Although with my luck, I'll probably end up in like get like a bad ending or something, but so be it.
こちらも何もなかったですね。
あ、そう。
他のところも探してみますか。
Arbor facing the lighthouse. Front of man from the sea statue. That's just really, the phrasing of that is really funny. Front of the man from the sea statue. Anything, any events showing up? Oh. Right, let's open this first. Then we'll carry on with that. Again, I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking for. Is it going to be like a power symbol like the other ones? Possibly. Flags. Houses. Kaito. Man from the sea statue. Okay. Neat. Like, I assume it's not going to be like a literal tag. Like, I assume it's going to be at least a little subtle. I'm seeing it. Again, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's this guy's fanny pack. I found it. Board. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh. No, I think that was just some fuzzy on my TV. All right. I traced the trajectory of Yashio-kyun's finger with my eyes. There, I see a lightly tanned and rather tough-looking middle-aged man. He's aiming a gun. He squints his eyes, his fierce gaze. In any other circumstance, that'd be terrifying, but it's a gun festival. I imagine there are a few of those. His fierce gaze piercing the target in front of him. His eyes are that of a beastly predator. He has hunted down many a prey in his days. It shows in his eyes. Even from this distance, I can sense the tension on his fingertip as he hooks around the trigger. And then, just as it feels like time has stopped, there's a loud pop as he pulls the trigger. That's not the sound I was expecting. Oh, it's Subaru's dad. I was not expecting the slide whistle. I guess not a real gun, like a dart gun maybe? Like a airsoft sort of thing. That's true. If there's any profession that requires fortitude of like trying over and over and over again, it's fishing.
スバル君のお父さんですよね。
何
The middle-aged man dramatically bends backward and turns around. So this guy's the robot club's... Sorry. So this guy's the robot club president's father, eh? Now that I think about it, his unfriendliness reminds me of him very much.
お前は確かロボ部の。
ヤシオです。ヤシオカイト。
The man looks troubled and starts scratching his head.
お祭り好きなんですか？
いや違うんだ。これはそのほらなんだ。せっかくだから。
He can't let anyone know he was having a good time. Subaru-kun must get his insincere side from his father.
このことはスバルには。
What?
分かってます。言いませんよ。
そうか。それでヤシオ君も祭り見物ですか？
いえ、俺は探し物を聞いてませんか、スバル君から。君島コウのこと。
Oh, this is actually a different area, I think, technically. It's like we're turned around, so maybe it's here. Hello. Candy apple stand. It's Kaito's hat. It's this thing. Not seeing the things. Again, not sure what it is.
君島コウ？いや、あいつあんまり家では話さんからな。
Are father and son relationships all like this? I can't quite relate. I don't think we know anything about Daru's parents, now that I think about it.
そいつが仕掛けたものを探してるんですけど。
探し物か。
って言ってもジオタグなんで目には。
Trying to think if that's ever come up.
ジオタグ？
いや、わからないですよね。
これ、こういうものですよ。
It's faster to show rather than tell. I pull out my phone droid and lift it up.
こうやってポケコン越しに見ることで、その場所に埋め込まれたいろんな情報を取り出すことができる。それがジオタグですよ。
Wait.
どうしました？
Is it on him? Something's nagging at me. That felt strange. Let's take another look.
ちょっと見せてください。
I see an AR marker like symbol facing south.
中ヶ丘公園。
どうかしたのか。
おかげさまでわかりました。ありがとうございます。
There's just like a arrow on his shoulder, I guess? Like an AR arrow pointing south?
橋田さん。
Weird.
わかった。
We borrow a company car from Space Candy and manage to get our first point of interest, but...
ここが宇宙ヶ丘公園ですか。
Alright, first things first. Web address book. I'm curious which one of these can I open. I assume it's just the same ones. Does Daru play Kill Ballad? Yeah, just these three. Well, I could probably do document viewer too, right? I don't think I have any documents though. Alright. Rocket. Or maybe I just need to let the conversation play out. Going by its name, I expected there to be all kinds of things related to space, but instead it's just an open field.
全然宇宙っぽくないね。なんで宇宙顔か？
それはほら、あそこ。
Yeah, there's a big old rocket monument. I follow after Yashio-kyun into the park. There I find...
ああ、ロケットの発射台。
Nice. Also, this is a new perspective. Want to check, make sure I'm not missing anything. Do not enter. Kaito didn't listen. Park. What is that? Just rust. Alright.
そういうこと。
I can see Jax's rocket launch pad in Minamitane from here too.
ロケット発射の際はこの広場にたくさんの人が集まります。そこら中にテントを張ったりしてね。
People are off limits within a 3-kilometer radius of the launch pad during a rocket launch. Uchigaoka Park is a spot where people can safely watch rockets launch into space at a close proximity.
そんなことより早く起動スイッチを見つけなきゃ。
Is this also a new? I think this is also a new perspective. Kaito, you're the way. Is that a feather? What is that? Is that a pen? Weird. I don't even know what that is. Looks like a feather pen. Or like some kind of charm. No. Nothing special that I can see off the blindness of my eyes. Oh. There should be an AR marker somewhere around here. Okay, this is the one. Those other places, Trojan horse, or not Trojan horses, red herrings. Access prohibited without proper permission. Again, Kaito didn't listen. Doesn't help that on my TV screen, it's not on the capture, which is good, but on my TV screen there's like just a bunch of white speckles, which does not help me in terms of trying to find something that's a little hidden. Alright. For a second I thought I saw a part of the ground light up. Is it on the ground? I'm still not 100% sure if like this is the tutorial one that I don't actually need to look for. But like, should I just let them keep talking? Should I actually keep looking for it? Do I actually need to find it myself? I'm gonna check the floor real quick. Nope. I think I'm just gonna let them talk. I inch closer to it and realize that there's a metallic object on the ground. What could it be? Slowly reach my hand toward it. Is that a monopole?
どうしました?
ちょっと転びそうになっただけ。
Are there more of those?
気をつけてください。
すまんすまん。
What is this thing? First glance, it looks like an ordinary chunk of metal, but is it electrified? The sparking stops after I wrap it with a towel. Talk about a rare find. I should take it back to Tokyo and look into it further. Maybe I can use it for the development of you know what. I don't know what. Tell me what.
そっちはどうです?
ちょい待ち。今見てるとこだから。
Okay. Here we go. I'm guessing I couldn't have found it before. Oh, hello. Wow, yeah, it's a lot less subtle than the other game, which I'm not complaining.
本当に
Now, if I just turn this thing off.
スイッチ解除しましたか？
それなんだけどさ、やっぱ無理に見つける必要もないんじゃね？
今さら何を言ってるんです？
I mean, at the end of the day, it was Kimijima who was like, go find them. So, like, do we trust that he's... I don't know, is this a trap? It feels like a trap. But it could also not be. The dude's crazy.
そんなこと言って猫耳メイド服が好きなのでしょ？ほら、いいから早く切っちゃってください。
わかった、わかりましたよ。
That too, I guess. Young man, you lack imagination. But I guess there's nothing I can do about that. You got me. Alright.
これといって何にも起きんね。
とりあえず西の表に戻ってみましょうか。
またあの来た道を戻るん？
It took us more than an hour just to get here.
仕方ないでしょ。これ以上ここにいたって何もないし。
I guess he's right. We accomplished our goal, and I even found something interesting. I chased after Yashio-kyun, who hurriedly returns to the car. Yeah, I can't really remember what happened with the whole monopole thing. They were falling, they were getting found, and also, like, collected to be used for stuff, but at the end of the whole thing, like, did they keep falling, or did the lack of the go-through from the plan make them stop falling? Because I assume that's what he found. It was... When we return to the festival, all of the cat ear maids are gone. Surprised we didn't see Nyan. Maybe he was in that other place I didn't go. I think there was another place I could have gone, but I went to the other place. That's probably where she was. There's no way that nowhere in this game is there cat ear maid Nai. There's no way it didn't happen. Naitan and Yashio-kyun look at each other and shrug. How could I not be disappointed? Cat ear maids are a dime a dozen in Akihabara and have become a part of the city scenery. But in Tanegashima, the fact that all these folks were forced to wear them against their will is a big moe effect. Ah! Apparently non-consensuality is moe. I did not know that.
君島講師のいたずらは追加されていくってことでしょ？
そう。そしてその追加されたいたずらにそれぞれ対応しているスイッチがあるということ。
How do we know this? Remember that the matchlock robot hovering over the festival venue? Even after we turned the switch off, that thing is still there, which means the switch we turned off is only associated with the cat ear maid outfits. So I guess I was wrong. Like, it had nothing to do with Kaito. It was just Himijima being weird. What? Never have I felt more like I'm being toyed with. And I imagine that's the point.
そりゃしょうがないよ。だって仕掛けてきてるのはあっちなんだから。
随分と大変なことになってきましたね。
Hi. Is he having a snack? Oh my god. I'm not expecting to see him in like a button-up shirt. We turn around to find Sawada-kyun standing there.
Ah, Sawada-kyun. ほんと、まさかこんなことになるなんて。
何か？
いや、なんか楽しんでる？
Both of Sawada-kyun's hands are full with all manner of treats. Candied apples, small castella cakes, anything and everything from the vendors.
そう見えますか？
He just looks so out of place, not in like a suit and tie, but I'm totally okay with it. Very humanizing. Respect that attitude. Sawada-kun says as he keeps snacking away. The way he's talking makes it sound like he's ravenously eating these things. He says before halting his munching. His eyes drop to the ground. No one tell him, teach him not to talk with his mouth full. Yeah, I imagine she's like either in the hospital or prison.
Oh.
They mentioned like she might never wake up again, so I imagine she's probably still in a coma. Misaki Senomiya. If I remember correctly, she was the pilot of the giant spider-like robot during that fateful incident. The former PR person for the exoskeleton company and a HUG test pilot. Oh my god. Dire priorities. I remember talking about her in front of Yuki and making her jealous. It was hard trying to convince her that I was joking. I ended up having to buy her an expensive cake from her favorite bakery just to appease her. On that day, I vowed to never bring up real women in the house ever again. Only 2D in this household. Aside from my lovely wife. Oh, she did wake up. Okay. Wait a second. Senomiya? Where have I heard that name before? Yashio-kyun instantly catches on to my curiosity and provides an answer.
Oh.
Misaki Senomiya was being controlled by Koki Mijima to carry out Project Atom. And the ones who stopped them were her sister, Akitan, and her childhood friend, Yashio-kyun. What sort of drama was happening behind it all? This is too much to think about right now. So I won't go down that rabbit hole. It's not something an outsider like me should get too invested in. keeps trying to drop it. Sawada-kun says as he fills his mouth with Castella. I don't think anyone's buying that.
承知しました。それでは私はやることがありますのでこれで。
Sawada-kun bows and walks away. I watch him to see where he's headed, only to find that he makes a straight line towards the shaved ice stand. Sawada's got a sweet tooth, who knew? I guess he's still hungry. He's gonna turn out like me if he keeps eating sweets like that.
沢田君ってあんな人だったっけ？いや、
もしかしたらこれまで抑圧されてたのが一気に噴出したのかも。
A rebound effect. He's in a tricky position himself. He must have been in a very stressful environment. A person like me, who never puts himself in stressful situations, would never have to worry about stuff like that. Oh, right. Speaking of.
思うんだけど、君島こう、もしかしたらバグってるのかもね。
バグ?
Surprised I hadn't considered that, yeah. It's an interesting possibility. Yeah, maybe at the end of the day, he doesn't even have a master plan. He's literally just messing with these people. If he is indeed bugged, this is gonna be a real pain in the ass.
どっちにしても今俺たちがやらなきゃならないのはジオタグ探しってことで、もう少し探しますか。
まだやるの？
そりゃそうでしょ。
僕も沢田君みたいにお祭り楽しみたいんですが。
君島公を止めたらいくらでも遊んでください。
And so Yashio-kyun took me all over the place, but at the end of the day, we were unable to find any other geotags. Actually, it kind of feels like we spent most of our time in transit. I yell at Hashida-san's broad back as he leaves the festival grounds, only to receive a wave back without turning around. Is he really gonna be okay? But judging by what happened today, our situation doesn't seem to be too urgent. I guess I'll have to deal with this bizarre buddy for a while longer. Why is... What do they have to say about buddy? Just, okay, yeah, just buddy. Okay. The certain words that they make, like, vocabulary, like, give you a little definition, feel so random sometimes. Probably because they are very random. And of course, Airi's outfit is back to normal. I like her necklace with the little snowflake. It's cute. Oh my god. Don't make it weird. Was I making a disappointed face just now? Didn't mean to. Restraining myself from saying anything, Airi says as she chuckles. She's become a little devil in the short time I haven't seen her. Going to sleep. All right, see you later. Have a good night. Together. Honestly, even if I did have a sit-down conversation with Akiho, I wouldn't know what to talk about. It hasn't even been that long. We didn't see each other for 6 months, that's it. But because we were always together, maybe that little bit of time that we were separated was enough to change something between us. Wonder where he's going. Imagine I'll find out very quickly. Perhaps Airi sensed something in my tone. She nods her head without objecting further. Watch Airi walk off toward the parking lot, and then I head to a certain place. Where would it be? town hall? The town hall? Nope. And now I'm sad. By the time I get there, the sky has already turned orange.
久しぶりだね、水香さん。
7 months ago, Mizuka-san, Misane's friend and someone who was like an older sister to me, passed away. The cause of her death was also the beginning of that loathsome incident. Her exoskeleton company branded Hug went berserk. Just as I'm about to offer the flowers that I bought, I noticed that there are already flowers here. They look fresh. Someone must have come by in the last few days. Was it Akiho? It might have been Michi. Or maybe it was Michi. Or perhaps... Oh, maybe Misaki? I gently close my eyes. And suddenly, Mizuka-san is there in front of me. She stands there with her usual ironic smile, the same one she always wore at the Irie General Store. This is metaphorical, right? She's not literally there, right?
Mizuka-san.
何？私の顔になんかついてる？
いや、元気そうだなって。
バカだね、あんたも。死んだ人間に元気そうも何もないじゃないか。
Dead. That's right. Mizuka-san is dead. She's not here anymore.
まったく。そんな顔するんじゃないよ。半年以上も経ってるんだ。いい加減慣れなって。
Man, I'm bummed. Don't remind me of this. I can't just get over it like that. I don't even want to. A person's death isn't that easy to let go of. Let alone when it's someone dear to you.
それにあんたも、もう自分の進む道を自分で決めたんだ。今さら私の力なんて必要ないだろう。
そんなことないよ。俺なんてまだわからないことだらけだ。
そう。でも悪いけど、湖協定はもう解消だよ。これからはあんたが一人でやんなくちゃ。あれを食べた時のあんたの何とも言えない顔を見られないのは少し残念だけどね。
あれはもうごめんだよ。
そんなこと言ってそのうち懐かしくなって食べたくなるもんだ。人生ってのはそういうものさ。
Is that really how it works? I don't understand yet.
とにかくあんたはもう未来に向かって歩き始めてるんだ。私のことなんて忘れちまいな。
Adults always contradict themselves. Just a second ago, she said I'd missed the passion fruit bun, but now she expects me to forget about her.
あ、それからミサのこと頼むよ。私がこんなになって一番心を痛めているのはミサだろうからね。
わかったよ。
それともう一つ、秋のことちゃんとしてあげなよ。そんな顔するな。男だろ。それじゃあね、カイ。
But you won't though. That's the... Don't say things like that.
しっかり頑張んなよ。
Mizuka-san says what she wanted to say, then disappears from the back of my eyelids. She's so selfish. She always disappears suddenly.
また来るよ、水香さん。
I whisper before leaving the sorrowful cape behind. Well, now my heart is broken. The next day, the sunshine of Tanegashima is still way too much for a city boy like me. Jumping right back into it. The only saving grace is the strong wind. Tanegashima is apparently known as the island of wind. It's like constantly windy around here. So fortunately, it doesn't feel as hot as it could, but that doesn't make the sunshine any less painful. Yeah, heat is hot. Sucks.
同じじゃないっしょ。僕は野州犬たちと違って重い鎧を着てるんだからさ。
And it's not easy for me to take off said armor since it's made of fat.
それだけ汗かきゃいいダイエットになるんじゃない？
どんだけ汗かいてもそれは水分が出てってるだけでダイエットにはなんないっつうの。おしっこいっぱいしても痩せはしないっしょ。それと一緒。
It's true.
別に胸張って言うことでもないと思うけど。
It's been only 3 days since we met, but I feel like Yashio-kyun's already lost some sense of all sense of restraint with me. But I prefer that to being treated with some odd sense of respect just because I'm an adult. Of course, I have my communication skills to thank for breaking down the walls between us. Of course. I hear an energetic voice that seems to ignore the summer heat. That voice could only belong to one person. Akitan is standing in front of a stall, waving her hand vigorously. That's a cute little apron. I like it. Okay. Hold on, what? Is that a greeting? Good morning, hello, good evening. Tanegashima dialect. Nice. They have a lot of those. Mo-san. Too bad. Is he still broken up about the whole maid costume thing? Get over it, man. Come on. Daru, get a hold of yourself. Akitan starts fidgeting at the mere mention of yesterday's events. I'm sure that's gonna be a dark memory for her. It's not like she was wearing it IRL, but I guess that's not the issue here.
そうだ、せっかくだから僕から店長さんに提案してみるっつうのは。
本当にやめてください。
Akitan's cheeks redden and puff up. She's cute when she gets embarrassed. Curse you, Yashio-kyun. He's blessed with such an adorable childhood friend, yet he's still allowed to hang out with cuties like Juntan, Frautan, and Airi-tan. Definitely not jealous. With what happened yesterday, I didn't have a chance to eat. Whoops. Airi-tan works at a local cuisine restaurant. Apparently they serve combo meals during lunch hours too. I hear they're closing the main store during the festival and focusing on this food stand. Makes sense. When I look at the menu, I see they have a pretty decent lineup despite being a food stand. Since the main restaurant is nearby, they can still use its larger kitchen for prepping food, she says. It's actually pretty practical. Like, during a festival, most people aren't gonna sit in a restaurant, but all going to the food stands.
アキちゃんのおすすめは？
軽く食べるならこのサバサンドとか美味しいんじゃないかな。あとは BLT サンドとか。
なんか普通のメニューだね。
だって郷土料理なんてカイは食べ飽きてるだろうから。
She has a point.
橋田さんにはこのザコバーガーとかどうかな。
Zako? Means blue sprat. What is a blue sprat? You need to have a second thing for blue sprat. The best season for catching is said to be early summer before egg laying period. Zako is eaten in many ways, such as sashimi, tempura, karage, stewed. So I'm assuming, based on that, that it is some kind of fish? Maybe? I don't know. What? Sashimi is fish, right? Okay. I'm gonna Google blue sprat later.
Zako? なんそれ? なんかディスられてる?
そうじゃなくてキビナゴのこと。種子島ではキビナゴをザコって呼ぶんですよ。
Brown herrings, blue sprat. Apparently it's
キビナゴをすり身にしてハンバーグ状にして焼いたのを挟んでるの。意外と美味しいよ。
That actually sounds pretty good.
他はそうだな。アゴカツとかアゴパスタとか。
Also don't know what ago is. Fish. Flying fish. Called this in the Kyushu and Kansai regions. Ago dashi broth is very popular and is said to have a more delicate and rich taste over dried anchovies and bonito flakes.
Ago?
トビウオのことです。
Now that I like how Daru is learning these things at the same time I am. We're learning together. Now that she mentions it, I remember my waifu telling me that flying fish are called ago in Kyushu. The fact that he refers to Yuki as his waifu is so on brand, and I hate it. I don't hate it. I love it. That's so ridiculous. You can't have a real life waifu. It doesn't work like that. Waifus specifically. I heard about it when we were talking about ago broth.
特にこっちのアゴパスタは美味しいですよ。
Picture in the menu shows an oil-pickled piece of flying fish on top of what looks to be a peppercino pasta, garnished with what looks like fish flakes. That also sounds really good. Whoa, this does look good. And now I'm hungry.
もちろん。
She says proudly before immediately curling up.
と言いたいところだけど、うち
Yeah.
は接客だけ。作ってるのは店長なんだ。うちもゆくゆくは厨房でも働かせてもらえるようになりたいんだけど。
Aki-tan looks discouraged. It's apparent from her body language that this is no easy goal to achieve.
っていうかさ、前から疑問だったんだけど、なんでアキちゃんこのお店でバイト始めたの？
なんでって、それは募集してたからだよ。
おじさんにお願いして雇ってもらったんじゃなかったっけ？第一、バイトなら他でも募集してるでしょ？それこそ家から近い中種あたりでも。それに飲食店ってアキちゃんっぽくないし。
それは
Aki-tan's expression darkens. I get it, so that's how it is. I don't. Explain it to me, please.
そういや、秋田には夢はあるん?
I figured I'd give it a shot.
うちの夢？
そう、ヤシオ君の夢は宇宙飛行士になることっしょ。秋田は？
うちの夢。
そういや、俺も知らないな。前はずっとガンツクを完成させることって言ってたけど、それは一応叶ったわ。
That's true. Like it. Yeah. Gun build. The project to build a life-size model of the heroic robot gun barrel. It's doofy. What? Very awkward moment to stop, but I want to go to my nephew's school thing. It didn't realize it was this late. All right, very awkward moment to stop. Bye.